Do you struggle with fibroids? Do you have cysts? Are you dealing with gut issues? Do you feel uncomfortable in your body? Do you have just this constant heaviness? Is your hair falling out and then always feeling tired? If so, this video is for you. I'm going to be sharing my testimony and how, through taking care of myself and also a lot of prayer and spending a lot of time with God, helped me to reverse a lot of the issues that I was experiencing due to cysts and fibroids and gut issues. So let's go ahead and get into the video. Hi, beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Fatima, and on this channel, we talk about all things Christian faith, self-care, wellness, and mental health. And I am so happy that you decided to come back or stop by for the first time to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you all about my journey to naturally healing from womb issues. So those issues include fibroids, cysts, gut issues, all the different things and how they're related. I'm going to do my best to explain this in a way that makes sense. It's a lot of information, and also this video is kind of overdue because this is something that I've been navigating for a while, but I've wanted to make sure I learned everything that I could, that I had as many receipts as possible, so it'll be filled with pictures and clips from all the things that I did. But really quick disclaimer before we get into the video, I want to share that number one, I am not a doctor. I am not a nutritionist. So take all of the advice and things that I'm sharing with a grain of salt. Do your own research, and more than anything, check in with yourself and make sure that these things make sense for you. If you're not sure, check with your doctor, but I am not a doctor, so I cannot guarantee that these things will work. I'm just sharing my journey, my testimony, what worked for me. So first and foremost, let me rewind and share a little bit about my journey. So back in 2022, I talked about this in my testimony video, the one that I posted a couple weeks ago. I'll link it in case you haven't seen it. But I shared that it was very stressful. And if you do not know this, most diseases in our bodies are caused by stress. And for women, a lot of the times that stress shows up in our womb. Our womb is the space where we create life, where we create energy, where we create so much energy that can be used out into the world. But if that energy gets stagnant and if we are building up stress in that area, it can manifest into other issues. So for me, one of the first things that I noticed was constant bloating and weight gain. I started gaining so much weight in the year 2022, and I will compare between 2021 and 2022 how my weight started to shift. Now, initially, I just thought, okay, it's just happy weight because I'm in a fairly new relationship, and that's what happens, right? But I started to notice that my weight was coming on pretty fast, and it was like centered around my midsection. And I really started to notice that at the height of the stress that I was navigating at that time, my abdomen just looked swollen to the point of like you would think that I was a couple months pregnant. And I will show pictures of what my stomach looked like July of 2022. And that was when I was like, okay, something's not right. And I had previously had a cyst in the past, or like a cyst here and there. But if you know anything about cysts, they typically come and go on their own, and it's not really anything the doctor can do. They usually aren't that considered serious unless they rupture and cause you to like faint or have any other issues. But my cysts were not doing any of that. So, for the years that I had them, it was never a big concern. So I was thinking, okay, well, maybe it's like a cyst or something, or maybe it's something along those lines, right? At this point, I had already known that I had fibroids as well, but I guess I didn't take it serious because I thought it was similar to like a cyst. And also, my doctor didn't make it seem like it was a big deal. Like a lot of times, if you go to the doctor and you get diagnosed with fibroids, the advice that you typically hear is to just monitor them. So I didn't really think much of it, right? So I had cysts in the past. I had gotten diagnosed with fibroids, but my doctor didn't make a big deal out of it. She just said monitor it. She didn't tell me anything else. She didn't put me on medication. I think she may have suggested birth control, but I denied it because I didn't want to use birth control, all of the hormones. That's a whole nother story. I noticed in July of 2022, I'm gaining a lot of weight and my stomach is always bloated and constipated, and it just feels really uncomfortable. So around that time, I was really struggling. Around about like October or so of that year, I went back to the doctor, and I remember my doctor telling me that my fibroids had grown in size and that I needed to get an ultrasound to check them out and see like what was going on. And she confirmed that that pressure in that swollen abdomen was from the fibroids. So at that point, it felt a little bit more serious. You know, she was like, it's not at the point where we need to have like an immediate surgery, but we want to monitor it. And if you want to have children or if you notice any additional symptoms, like come back, make another appointment, and we'll reassess. And I said, okay. But because I was so shaken up and rattled by that information, I knew that I had to do something about it. I knew, number one, that this weight that I was gaining was not it. I did not feel comfortable in my body. And at this point, I was going through a breakup. So I was just very sad, overwhelmed, and just physically did not feel my best. So, what I ended up doing was deciding that I was going to go on this cleanse and really focus on healing my body. I want to shout out one of my best friends, my sis Erica, because she navigated a similar situation and she put me on to all of the things that she did. And also my girl Lotus, because she also put me onto all of the herbs and supplements. So I will probably have to make a separate video detailing all of the herbs and supplements, but I'm going to do my best to share them now. So basically, what I did was I said, okay, I'm going to commit for the next 6 months. I'm going to commit to turning around my health. Like I was committed. So what I did was I purchased all these different herbs. I started using black cohosh. I started using sea moss regularly. I started using spirulina to mix inside of a like water to make a green drink. I started looking into different iron supplements that I could take because also something that I should mention, when I went to get my blood work done, I found out that in addition to having fibroids, I was severely anemic, deficient in iron, and I was deficient in vitamin D. So around October is when I actually started to notice my hair falling out. And that is when I went to the doctor and found out that I was anemic, I was low in vitamin D, low in iron. And I was kind of freaking out, I'm gonna be honest, because I talked about this in my last video, but it was to the point where the only style that I could wear my hair in was two strand twist. And I wore my hair in that style consistently from October up until like February of the following year, where I would just style my hair, I would wash it, and every time I would wash my hair, it would just be clumps and clumps and clumps of hair just falling out. And not like in huge chunks, just like I'm wiping like that, but it was like when I would comb my hair, when I would touch my hair, and it was coming out from the root. That's what made me really concerned because I would notice the strands were super long strands. It wasn't like my hair was breaking midway. It was like these are falling out from the root. So I will insert pictures and videos so you can see how thin my hair was. Now, genetic wise, I naturally have very long nails and very long hair, right? Like that's just genetics with my family. And I'm so blessed for that. But around that time, although my hair was still long, it was thin. And it was to the point where if I went like this, you could literally see through my hair. Like you could, it was so scary. I remember around my birthday in December, I was freaking out because I did a photo shoot and I remember my hair was parted in a certain way where it's like, well, it wasn't parted, but it was styled in a certain way where it's like a half up style. And I could see my scalp and I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is, I've never seen my scalp when I've had a half up hairstyle before. Like that is so scary to see. So I was definitely freaking out around this time. I'm not going to lie. I've always had beautiful, healthy hair. I've never had any issues with my hair. So to just see it coming out in the way that it was in the shower was very scary. And that's why I decided to just do protective styling. So around this time, I also decided that I was going to change my eating habits. So although I've been a pescatarian for years, meaning that I only eat seafood and basically outside of that, I eat plant-based. So for the most part, that's how I've eaten since 2000 and I think 17. So I've been eating this way for a long time. And most people would say I eat very healthy. I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. But something that I noticed around that time was that I was eating a lot of fried foods and carbs, and not the healthy carbs. I was eating a lot of like fried shrimp, fried fish, a lot of French fries. I love French fries even to this day. I was eating a lot of just fried stuff. So although the stuff that I was eating was technically healthy, it wasn't, because so much of it was deep fried and processed. And one of the main things that I learned on this journey of healing my womb is that you have to eliminate toxins. And processed food are considered toxins. If it's not as close as possible to the real thing, it is going to be a toxin for your body. And if you have any type of issues going on, right? Like especially fibroids, if you think about it, they're growths, right? They're tumors essentially. They're benign tumors. And in order for them to grow, they feed off of sugar and they feed off of carbs, which turn into sugar, and they feed off of processed food. They feed off of these chemicals that we put into our body. So the more research I started doing, the more that I started to learn, like, okay, I need to change everything, change my hair products, change my body products. I swapped out cleaning products, right? I started to shift everything that I could that had toxins in it that I was using on my body and in my home. I started to shift those things. I also started to shift what I was eating, of course. So I cut out fried foods, and that was very hard. And I'm not going to say I never ate fried foods, but it was probably to the point where I maybe ate fried foods 5 to 10% of the time. And I did this for about 6 months, right? And I also saved a lot of money because I wasn't going out to buy the stuff anymore, right? I wasn't going to like get seafood boils and all of that type of stuff. I was just cooking at home. And a lot of my meals were very boring. I'm going to be honest. I was eating a lot of quinoa. I was eating a lot of vegetables. You know how you can get those big bags of vegetables with like broccoli and cauliflower and carrots? I would eat that almost every day. I would have a lot of avocado as like a snack. I still ate some snacks, but I tried my best to eat the healthiest version possible of these snacks that I was enjoying. And I'll share a little bit about what I'm doing currently and how like I haven't even been snacking. Like your girl has not been snacking. I've just been like, nope, not doing it. But this is for different reasons. I'm not really struggling with the same womb issues anymore. This is just more so for like detoxing my body and fasting and cleansing and all that. So anyway, I have changed my products that I'm using on my body. I've changed my hair products, my home products. I've changed the foods that I'm eating, and I've started taking these supplements. Another thing that I started to do was exercise, because I knew that I had to get this weight off of my body. And I also knew that I had to detox my body. Like detoxing your body is so important when you are trying to heal these wound issues, especially fibroids, because like I say, your body, the reason that they're growing is because your body is feeding it. If you stop feeding it, they will start to shrink. Okay. That's how it works. If you stop feeding it, they will begin to shrink, but you have to stop feeding it. You have to detox your body. So thankfully, I was in a space where I was able to use a sauna almost every day. So I would work out. I would usually do some form of cardio and maybe like a standing workout with dumbbells. There's a YouTube channel that I really like called Hash Fit TV. I actually think they're Christian too, which is really cool. It's a couple, husband and wife, and they make amazing videos and all these different challenges. So I would just go to their channel, pick a video. I would do maybe my 30 minutes of cardio, maybe more sometimes, and I would sit in the sauna. That was my routine. Um, of course, I lowered my stress as much as possible. That is huge. Even if you're doing all these things, but if you're still super stressed out, so if you're still in a relationship that's stressing you out, or your living situation is stressing you out, or work is stressing you out, these things will help, but they won't completely reverse it if you are still stressed. So you have to get your stress down. That is so important. Please, that is so important. And I would say that is the first thing to do. Like if you're trying to heal naturally, is to first and foremost eliminate as much stress as possible. Then start to change your food and your products and all of that stuff, right? This is a lifestyle change, by the way. I don't know if I've mentioned that already, but this is not something that's just going to happen overnight. This is a lifestyle change, a lifestyle commitment. So around January of 2023, was still noticing a lot of hair coming out. Even though I had lost the weight, I was feeling a lot better. My digestion was back to normal. I was still struggling with hair loss. I set up an appointment with a dermatologist, and I went to the dermatologist, and she basically shared with me what had been going on. She shared that due to the stress, the low iron, the low vitamin D, that my body was so deficient that my hair was starting to come out. And she said that typically when that happens, like the stress and the low minerals will shock your hair follicles, and that will cause a lot of fallout. She said, but towards the 5th and 6th month, you'll notice that it'll slow down. So I was like, okay, I was kind of like at the 4th month or so. So I was like, okay, maybe it'll start to slow down. Now, around this time in January, I had decided to do a fast, and you can actually go back on my channel. I'll post it actually, the video where I described what fasting was, how to do it. And this is spiritual fasting at the time. So I was not fasting for weight loss or anything like that. I was solely fasting because I needed God to intervene. I needed God to show up in my situation and show me that healing was possible. I understood it logically, but I never experienced that for myself. So I began to pray that scripture over myself. I began to believe that God would heal me, that God would stop my hair from falling out. And I continued to pray I remember from January up until like March, my hair was still coming out, and it started to slow down a little bit. But one of the shifts that I noticed was once I started taking a product, and this is not sponsored. I wish that it was, because honestly, like, I'm about to plug them, but it's the honest God truth. This product works. It's called Nutrafol. My dermatologist recommended it, and she told me to take, I think the package says to take 4 a day, but she said I only needed to take 2, which is great because the product is expensive. And if I have a code, like a discount code, I'll link that below. I'm pretty sure I probably have something you can use. Started using that, and that's when I noticed that the thickness in the areas where I literally was balding, like I had bald spots coming in, started to grow back. So I didn't necessarily notice that the shedding was stopping right away, but I noticed that my hair was starting to grow back in areas where it was gone completely, which was around my edges. So I noticed around maybe like the 2nd month of taking it, I was like, okay, I see little hairs coming in. Like, this is really exciting. So I continued to take it. And I think I might have stopped taking it around like the 3rd month, simply because I had ran out. And like I said, the product is expensive. So I stopped taking it. And then I noticed I had more shedding. So I was like, oh my gosh, is this something I have to keep taking in order to like experience, in order for my hair to not shed? So I was a little concerned about that at first, but I just decided I'm going to continue investing in this because it's working. So basically, Nutrafol, one of the main ingredients is biotin. So you don't necessarily have to get this one. You can just take biotin, but there are a lot of other helpful ingredients in this product to me that makes it superior than just taking biotin. And also, a lot of people claim that when they take biotin, it actually breaks their skin out. I personally did not have any issues with that. I also am a person who drinks a lot of water. So if you take this, make sure you're drinking a lot of water in order to kind of flush out, I guess, any extra of the product so that it does not show up on your skin. So I took that consistently, and my hair started to turn around about like March, April. I noticed the fullness of my hair coming back. When I would go and touch my hair, I didn't have these huge gaps in it anymore. And it was just so exciting to see that God was literally answering my prayer. And I know for some people, like, you may hear this and think, oh, it was just the product you took. That's why your hair, turned around. Believe what you want. What I know is that I was praying every single day that God would heal me. I would be in the shower, detangling my hair, praying, talking through this process, like, God, please just heal me. Please allow my hair to stop falling out. And that's another tip that I want to share too, is to be mindful and to be aware of the words that you're saying about your body, about your healing, and about your hair. Speak life over yourself, okay? As you're dealing with this, as you're bleeding, and because my bleeding was also very heavy. That was one of the first things that I noticed that made me say, okay, something is not right. Um, and I remember just praying, like praying over my womb, putting my hand on my body and saying, God, heal me. I know that I'm healed. I know that you can stop this. I know that you can turn this around. And now it's to the point where, I was taking this herb, this supplement called Black Cohosh. I was taking iron supplements. I was taking vitamin D, like large doses of vitamin D. I think my doctor put me on like 50,000 milligrams of vitamin D. And I know that sounds like a lot, but that's how deficient I was. And so to go from thinking about that, where now I don't have to take the black cohosh for the bleeding. Also, I forgot to mention herbal teas. I took a lot of herbal tea, and I'll link those as well. There's a woman on YouTube named Chelsea Eats. She is amazing. She has great videos. That's where I got all of my recipes from. That's where I got a lot of my teas from. I also plugged a brand called Are You Privy? Takia B on YouTube. She's another person that I got a lot of my teas and supplements from. So really do your research, but those are like all of the things that I did. And I know that this is a little scattered. Like I didn't organize this into like points. I just wanted to share my story honestly and share with you what my experience was like. So I hope that this is helpful so far. And if it is, make sure you thumbs up this video and subscribe if you haven't already. And we're going to get into where I am today. Okay, so like I mentioned, after a few months of consistently praying, continuing to eat a really clean diet, working out still, and taking my supplements, I noticed that my hair was growing back and I was so excited. First, it was just growing back in the spots where it was missing. Then I started to notice that it was getting fuller. Like I mentioned in the beginning, my hair naturally grows pretty long. So I wasn't really like, I can't say I noticed a huge difference in the length of my hair, but I definitely noticed a difference in the fullness. I noticed a difference in the thickness, and I noticed a difference in the health of my hair. My hair, now when I go to wash my hair, it is not falling out like crazy. It is not just clumps of hair all over the shower. And I am so grateful. Also, like I mentioned, I don't have to take a lot of the supplements anymore. So I'm no longer taking the very high dosage of vitamin D. I'm no longer taking iron supplements. I'll still take a smaller dosage of those occasionally, just to make sure I have enough. But my levels are completely balanced now, and I'm so thankful for that. So where I am today, I am still maintaining my workouts. I still take a good amount of supplements, like daily supplements. And if you guys want to know exactly what I'm taking, let me know and I'll like make a separate video on like all of the different supplements and things that I take for like healthy skin and hair and nails. Yeah, most importantly, I would say one of the things that I am continuing to do is to focus on living a fasted lifestyle. So I talked about this in my last video, but Dr. Mindy Pelt here on YouTube, if you want to learn about fasting, go to her. I don't have the answers, but she does. I'll link her book below. It's called Fast Like a Girl. And that has been transformational. Like, face is slimming down, waist is getting smaller, clothes are fitting better simply because I am dedicated and committed to fasting in a way that is healthy for my body. The last time that I went to the doctor to, have my fibroids checked, my doctor said that she did not see any noticeable changes. And I can honestly say that my cycles are no longer as intense as they were. I don't have to take supplements to stop with bleeding. I am, to me, what feels a bit lighter and a bit more regulated. Everyone's cycle is different though. So only you know what is regular for you. But for me, there's been a huge difference to go from the type of bleeding that I was having. Like, that was hemorrhaging. That wasn't just like, oh, you're just bleeding, this is normal. That was not normal, which is why I was so deficient in so many different minerals in my body. So yeah, I think that covers everything. The most important message that I want to get across in this video is that if this is something that you're struggling with and you feel like you're never going to find a solution, do not give up. Continue to put God first in your healing. Continue to pray, to study his word, to speak his word over your life, and do your part though. It is going to require discipline and it's going to require sacrifices in order to see your body change and to experience true healing. Just like that scripture where it talks about the guy that wanted to get into the pool, but he wasn't fast enough. And I'll put the scripture on the screen. And Jesus basically told him, like, if you want to be healed, get up and walk. So he had to do his part. He had to believe that he would be able to get up and walk, even though he sat there for years not being able to get up. So you have to believe that. You have to believe that you are able to change your diet. You have to believe that you are able to make better choices, to change the products and the things that you're putting on your body, change your cleaning products, change your hair products, change your skincare products. Most of my skincare products are plant-based, vegan, cruelty-free, all of those things, because I am aware now that the toxins that we use in our products really do contribute to our health. So I hope that this video provides some encouragement. Like I said, if this is something that you're going through, leave a comment down below and let us know. Like, let us know so that everyone that's watching this that may feel alone in their journey, share like you're committing to this. Like you're about to show up for yourself. You're in, you're down, you're about to do the things that you need to do for yourself. And if you have any other questions about this topic, anything that I didn't cover or you want me to go more in depth to, please let me know. This can truly be your best year yet. And if you are looking to heal your body, especially your womb, I pray that this video helps you and guides you and that you are disciplined. You need discipline in order to experience true healing. You need discipline in order to walk in accordance to the version of the woman that God has called you to be. So thank you so much for watching this video. I know this was a long one, but I hope you enjoyed it. I pray that it was helpful, and I will see you in the next video.